An Australian crew led the title race after 3 rounds, but there was plenty of respect in the park for the UK contingent, led by former champion Tim Robinson.
I rode as skipper on the boat. That role really begins on the shore when we make a decision between the big rig and the small rig. We'll take the big rig in conditions up to about 20 knots and the small rig over that. So what we'll do with that, we'll talk amongst the crew, we'll look at the conditions, look at the weather forecast, and probably most importantly, we'll look at the other teams and what they're carrying. What we're trying to do in all of this is just get the same speed as them and not take too many risks. Having made that decision, we'll then take the boat onto the water, and then obviously as the steerer of the boat, that's really my primary role. And it's quite a intense job in so much that it does make a big difference to your speed as to how fast you steer it, whether it's make little adjustments to the wind and conditions. Then it's the tactical input, and that's often where the races are won and lost, and you'll communicate with your team. There's everybody putting input in there, but ultimately the decision really rests with you because you've got the steering stick in your hand.
2 wins from 3 starts and all eyes were on Omega Smeg. A great start once again, and the fleet was starting to wonder what they had to do to keep up. Smeg's gamble to approach the first mark at Shark Island from the west would cost them dearly. Creative Cover's approach from the north, along with most of the fleet, seeing the series leader drop back to 6th. Downwind and under spinnaker, it was a case of sit back, hang on and enjoy the ride. At the bottom mark, Creative Covers were still out in front, Team Patterson second, followed by Express Post. A flying run saw AMP looking for a top 4 finish after yesterday's indifferent 7th. Microsoft Visio rounded the mark just ahead of Rag and Famish. Rag skipper John Harris no doubt breathing a sigh of relief, just escaping the traffic jam that followed. Heading back into the sou'easter to Chowder Head, AMP had climbed over Creative Covers and into the lead. Around the mark, last year's champions had 25 seconds on Express Post, Creative Covers having faded to 3rd. Coming back out of Shark Island, Rag and Famish had gone from a minute down on AMP to lead as both skiffs headed downwind back through the field. An awkward spinnaker drop on board AMP allowed Rag to sneak away. With the spinnaker set to run back down the harbour for the final time, the Sprint Series winners look sharp. The camera boat struggling just to keep up. Rag's decision to run deep into the middle of the harbour looked like it may have been their undoing. Jibing back towards the final mark in Athol Bay, the crew prepared for a tight finish with the fast closing centre point. Few sailors know the harbour better than the fleet's elder statesmen. By the time they turned for home, John Winning and his crew had steered AMP to within striking distance. With 500 metres to the finish, this would be won on tactics, the 2 boats engaging in some of the tightest racing of the regatta. The Rag showed their hand first, tacking inside AMP. John Harris hoping to force Winning into a game of cat and mouse. AMP countered, only to have their passing lane covered by Rag each time they tacked. Out of time and out of options, centre point went again, only to see the Rag pull away, then cover. Down to the line, Rag and Famish still had the upper hand, sneaking home by a nose. Microsoft, a well-earned 3rd.
It was very tight in the last couple of legs. We had a really good race with Woody on AMP centre point, and pretty much came down to a 2-horse race at the end there, so we didn't give him any opportunity to get past.